Children, it is the last hour. And just as you heard that Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have appeared. From this we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not really of us. For if they had been of us, they would have remained with us. But they went out so that it would be shown that they all are not of us. Now, I'm just going to pick a few of these topics out here. First of all, John says it's the last hour. And I have noticed in our circles, the commentary of last hour is typically, when you hear last hour in a church like ours, at least in my experience growing up, let's say that may not be your experience. In my experience growing up, that meant one very specific, and I'm going to say narrow thing. That meant, last hour meant sometime right around the second coming of Jesus and the things that happen there. And so what I want to say to you is that actually if you look at the New Testament carefully, the majority of places that last days or last hour or last things, the majority of times you see a phrase like that, it's actually referring to the time that we live in now, not necessarily immediately around Jesus' coming. It refers, for example, this will make it clear. When at Pentecost, the beginning of the church, right? Just after the first coming of Jesus. He's died, he's resurrected, appearances, 40 days later, they're at the Feast of Pentecost. Holy Spirit comes on the believers there, and Peter and the other people that were in that upper room are empowered to preach. They start preaching, a crowd gathers, things are going crazy. People are saying, what is going on? Because there's no way that Palestinian Jewish guy knows my language. How is this possible? They're hearing their own languages. And then other people are saying there's gibberish, they're just speaking nonsense. And how is this going on? And people say, hey, some people start to shout at them that they're drunk. These men are just drunk. This is a crazy, chaotic scene, and it's just a bunch of drunkards. Peter's sermon follows that introduction, and he says, he quotes from the prophet Joel and says that what you're seeing reflects what Joel wrote. But what Joel said was that in the last days, these are the things you would see. So in other words, Peter preaches that first sermon right after Jesus' first coming and says, you're seeing the things that were promised to happen in the end times. And so to develop that further, it would probably take too much more time than I want to give to you, but I just want to plant that idea in your mind that last days is not necessarily always right around Jesus' second coming, that really we live in the whole church age is in many places referred to as the last days.